Hello, story lovers. Tonight, we're diving into a tale of passion, secrets, and choices that could change everything. Hearts will be broken, love will be tested, and every twist will leave you on the edge of your seat. Comment below where you're watching from, and if this story moves you, hit like, subscribe. Share it with someone who loves a powerful love story, and tap the bell so you never miss the next thrilling chapter. Ready? Let's begin. Asterisk, the rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Dr. Elena Vasquez's office, like bullets against glass. She sat across from her newest client, watching him fidget with the cufflinks on his expensive shirt. Sebastian Montenegro Tech. Billionaire magazine cover star, and according to the tabloids, the city's most eligible bachelor. He looked nothing like his photographs. "I don't usually do this," Sebastian said, his voice barely above a whisper. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his hands trembled as he spoke. "Therapy, I mean, but my mother thinks it might help with my image." Lena leaned forward slightly, her trained eyes catching every micro-expression. "What do you think it might help with?" A bitter laugh escaped his lips. "You mean besides the fact that I haven't slept properly in 15 years? Or that I can't touch another person without feeling like my skin is on fire?" The rain intensified, drumming a relentless rhythm against the glass. Alina had worked with trauma survivors for over a decade, but something in Sebastian's voice made her chest tighten with recognition. "When did it start?" she asked gently. Sebastian's jaw clenched. I was 19. College. There was this professor, Dr. Marcus Webb. He was brilliant, charismatic. Everyone loved him. His voice cracked. "I thought he cared about me. Thought. He saw potential in me." Alina felt her breath catch. Marcus Webb. She knew that name. "He invited me to his office late one evening," Sebastian continued, his eyes fixed on the floor. "Said he wanted to discuss my thesis. But when I got there, the door locked behind me, and everything changed." The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken understanding. Elena's hands gripped the arms of her chair, her knuckles white. "Sebastian," she said carefully, "Dr. Webb was investigated 5 years ago. Multiple students came forward." His head snapped up, eyes wide with shock. "What happened to him?" "He disappeared before the trial." "But not before he hurt others." Elena paused, her professional composure cracking slightly, including me. The confession hung in the air like a live wire. Sebastian stared at her, processing. What she had revealed, 2 survivors, sitting in a room filled with rain and shadows, their shared trauma creating an invisible bond between them. "You understand?" he whispered. "I understand," she replied. Outside, lightning illuminated the sky, and in that brief flash, both of them saw something they had never expected to find. Hope. 3 months later, the boundaries between therapist and patient had blurred beyond recognition. Alina stood in Sebastian's penthouse kitchen, morning light streaming through the windows as she watched him make coffee. His movements were careful, deliberate, the way someone moved when they expected pain at any moment. "This is wrong," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. Sebastian turned to steaming mugs in his hands. "What part? The fact that you're here, or the fact that neither of us wants you to leave?" She accepted the coffee, their fingers brushing. The contact sent electricity through both of them, a mixture of desire and terror. They had been dancing around this attraction for weeks, 2 damaged souls recognizing something essential in each. "I could lose my license," Elena whispered. "And I could lose the first person who's ever understood me," Sebastian replied, stepping closer. "Elena, what happened to us doesn't define us, but maybe it connected us for a reason." The phone rang, shattering the moment. Sebastian glanced at the screen, and his face went pale. "It's my mother," he said. "She's been pushing me to settle down. Get married. Good for the company image." Alina felt something cold settle in her stomach. "And," Sebastian answered the call, his voice transforming into the polished CEO persona. "Hello, Mother?" "Yes, I understand the board's concerns. Actually, there is someone I'd like you to meet." Lena stared at him in shock as he continued the conversation, watching him weave a careful lie about their relationship. When he hung up, the silence was deafening. "What did you just do?" she asked, I told her I was seeing someone seriously. A doctor. She wants to meet you next week. Sebastian, we can't what? Pretend we're not falling in love? Pretend. That every night I don't dream about having a normal life with you. His voice broke. I know it's selfish, but I need this. I need you. Alina felt her resolve crumbling. She had spent years helping others heal, but she had never healed herself. With Sebastian, she felt something she thought was impossible. Whole. One dinner, she said finally. After that, we figure out how to do this properly. Sebastian's smile was the first genuine one she had seen from him. He pulled her into his arms, and for a moment, their trauma felt like something they could overcome together. Neither of them noticed the figure watching from the building across the street. Telephoto lens focused on their embrace. Marcus Webb lowered his camera with a satisfied smile. He had been tracking both of his former victims for years, waiting for the perfect moment to reclaim what he considered his property. The game was about to begin. Asterisk. The Montenegro family mansion. It felt like a museum, all marble and gold in suffocating perfection. Alina stood beside Sebastian in the formal dining room, her hand trembling slightly as she gripped her wine glass. Catherine Montenegro was exactly what Alina had expected. Elegant, sharp-eyed, and utterly terrifying. She had been interrogating Alina for the past hour with the precision of a surgeon. So, Dr. Vasquez, Catherine said, cutting into her fillet with surgical precision. Sebastian tells me you specialize in trauma therapy. How fascinating. Tell me, do you believe people can truly overcome their past? Alina felt Sebastian tense beside her. I believe healing is possible, she replied carefully, though it's rarely linear. Catherine's eyes glittered. And what drew you to this field? Personal experience, perhaps? The question was a trap, and Alina knew it before she could answer. The doorbell rang. Sebastian frowned. I wasn't expecting anyone else, he said. James, the longtime assistant, appeared in the doorway, his face troubled. Mr. Montenegro, there's a Dr. Marcus Webb here. Says he's an old friend. Elena's wine glass slipped from her hand, shattering against the marble floor. The sound echoed through the room like gunfire. Sebastian shot to his feet, his face white with fury. Tell him to leave, Sebastian said, his voice deadly quiet. Actually, came a smooth voice from the doorway. I think Catherine would be very interested in what I have to say about your relationship with Dr. Vasquez here. Marcus Webb stepped into the room like he owned it. 15 years older, silver-haired, now, but still radiating the same predatory charisma that had destroyed 2 young lives. Catherine looked between them, confusion flickering across her features. Dr. Webb, what a surprise. Sebastian never mentioned you were in town. Sebastian and I go way back, Webb said, his smile cold. Do Dr. Vasquez and I, in fact. We all share a very intimate history. Lena felt the room spinning around her. This was her worst nightmare. Her trauma weaponized against the man she loved. What are you doing here? Sebastian demanded, stepping protectively in front of Alina. I came to congratulate you on your engagement, Webb said, producing his phone. On the screen was a photo of Sebastian and Alina embracing in his penthouse. Though I wonder what the medical board would think about Dr. Vasquez's rather unethical relationship with her patient. Catherine's eyes widened as understanding dawned. Patient? Alina? You didn't mention Sebastian was your patient. Because she's not supposed to be involved with me, Sebastian said, his voice hollow. It could destroy her career. Webb's smile widened, which brings me to my proposition. I have other photos, documentation of your relationship timeline. It would be such a shame if they found their way to the licensing board, unless, of course, we could come to some arrangement. Alina found her voice, steel threading through her terror. What do you want? $20 million? Webb said casually. And one night with each of you. For old time's sake, the silence that followed was deafening. Catherine stared at her son and Alina with dawning horror. Sebastian's hands clenched, into fists at his sides. Never, Sebastian said. Webb shrugged. Then I'll see you both in the headlines tomorrow. Billionaire CEO's a legal affair with therapist. I imagine the scandal will destroy both of your careers quite nicely. Lena felt everything she had built crumbling around her. But as she looked at Sebastian, seeing the same terror and rage in his eyes that she felt, she realized something that changed everything. She was done being afraid. Do it, she said quietly. Both men stared at her in shock. "Publish your photos," Alina continued, her voice growing stronger. "Tell whatever lies you want, 'cause I'm done letting you control my life." Sebastian stared at her, and slowly, a fierce smile spread across his face. "So am I," he said, moving. To stand beside her, Webb's confident expression faltered for the first time, and Alina knew they had just declared war on a monster who would stop at nothing to destroy them. The headlines were even worse than Webb had promised. Alina stared at her laptop screen in her now empty office, reading the latest article, "Disgraced Therapist in Billion-Dollar Scandal." Her medical license was under review, her practice had dissolved overnight, and her professional reputation lay in ruins. Sebastian burst through her office door. His suit rumpled, his usually perfect appearance showing cracks. "The board voted," he said, without preamble. "I'm suspended as CEO, pending investigation." Webb didn't just have photos. He had recordings of our sessions. Elena's blood turned to ice. "It's impossible. My office he bugged it months ago. Every conversation we had about our trauma, about Webb himself, about us falling for each other. He's been planning this." Alina buried her face in her hands. "Sebastian, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I should have maintained boundaries, should have stopped." Sebastian knelt beside her chair, taking her hands in his. "None of this is our fault. Webb is a predator who's been manipulating us from the beginning." Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. Dr. Vasquez. Webb's voice was silk over steel. "I trust you've been following the news. I have a revised offer." "We're not interested," Alina said. But Sebastian was already shaking his head, gesturing for her to keep him talking. "Oh, but you should be. You see, I have something else. Something that could destroy more than just your careers." Alina felt her stomach drop. "What are you talking about? Your sister Maria? Such a talented artist. It would be tragic if something happened. To her studio, or her." The threat hit Alina like a physical blow. Maria was all the family she had left, the one pure thing in her life that Webb's poison hadn't touched. "Don't you dare meet me tonight. Pier 17, Warehouse 3. Come alone, and your sister stays safe. Bring Sebastian, and she becomes another casualty in our little war." The line went dead. Alina stared at the phone, her hands shaking. "What did he want?" Sebastian asked. Alina looked at the man she loved, seeing the fear and fury in his eyes, and made a choice that would haunt her forever. "Nothing important," she lied. "Just more threats." That night, Alina drove to the warehouse district alone, her heart hammering against her ribs. The abandoned pier stretched into darkness, fog rolling off the water like ghostly fingers. Warehouse 3 was exactly where Webb said it would be. Alina stepped inside, the smell of rust and decay filling her nostrils. "I'm here," she called into the darkness. Lights blazed on, temporarily blinding her. When her vision cleared, Webb stood in the center of the empty space. No longer the distinguished professor, but something far more sinister. "I knew you'd come," he said. "You always were the smart one. Let my sister go. Maria is perfectly safe for now. But you and I have unfinished business, don't we?" Alina forced herself to stand straight, to meet his eyes. "What do you want?" "What I've always wanted. Control. You thought you could escape me, build new lives, find love?" He laughed, the sound echoing off the metal walls. "Everything you are, everything you've become, is because of what I made you. You belong to me." "Belong to no one." Webb's expression darkened. "We'll see about that." He stepped closer, and Alina saw the syringe in his hand. "A little something to make this easier. For both of us." Alina backed away, her mind racing. She had to stay conscious. Had to fight back. But as Webb advanced, she realized with growing horror that she might have made a fatal mistake. The warehouse door exploded open. Sebastian stormed in, his face a mask of rage and terror. "Get away from her." Webb spun, the syringe glinting in. The harsh light. "Sebastian, how wonderful." "I was hoping you'd join us." "I followed your phone," Sebastian said to Alina, not taking his eyes off Webb. "Did you really think I'd let you face him alone?" Alina felt her heart break and soar at the same time. Even after everything, he had come for her. But Webb was smiling. And Alina realized with dawning horror that this was exactly what he had wanted all along. "We're perfect," Webb said, raising the syringe. "Now I can finish what I started with both of you." Sebastian launched himself forward, but Webb was ready. The two men crashed to the ground, fighting for the syringe. And Alina heard the sound that would shatter her world. A single gunshot echoed through the warehouse. Someone was bleeding. And Alina couldn't tell who. Sebastian lay motionless on the cold concrete, blood pooling beneath his chest. Alina dropped to her knees beside him, pressing her hands against the wound, watching crimson seep through her fingers. "Stay with me," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Please, Sebastian, stay with me." Webb stood over them, smoking gun in his face twisted with satisfaction. How poetic. "The hero dies trying to save the damsel." "You're insane," Alina spat, applying pressure to Sebastian's wound. He was still breathing, but barely. "Am I? I created both of you. Your trauma, your strength, your love for each other. It all stems from me." Webb's eyes glittered with madness. "Now I'm taking it back." Sebastian's eyes fluttered open, focusing on Alina's face. "Run," he whispered. "I'm not leaving you. You have to." His hand found hers, slick with blood. "Live, Alina. Don't let him win." Webb laughed. "How touching. But neither of you is leaving here alive." Alina looked at the man she loved, dying in her arms, and felt something cold and final settle in her chest. She had spent her entire career helping people heal from trauma, but she had never truly healed herself until now. "You're right," she said to Webb, her voice deadly calm. "You did create us. You broke us, scarred us, made us afraid of our own shadows." She stood slowly, Sebastian's blood on her hands. "But you made one mistake," Alina continued, stepping toward Webb. "You taught us that we could survive anything, including you." Webb raised the gun, but Alina was already moving. Years of self-defense, classes triggered by the trauma he had caused, served her now. She knocked the weapon from his hand, and it skittered across the concrete floor. Webb lunged for it, but Alina was faster. The gun felt heavy and foreign in her hands, but her grip was steady, Alina, Webb said, his voice shifting back to the false kindness she remembered from years ago. "You don't want to do this. You're a healer, not a killer." "You're right," Alina said. "I am a healer. Sometimes healing requires cutting out the poison." The second gunshot was deafening. Webb crumpled to the ground, clutching his shoulder. Alina had aimed to wound, not kill. Even now, even after everything, she couldn't bring herself to become what he was. "It's over," she said, kicking the gun away from his reach. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Sebastian had managed to call 911 before Webb had shot him, she realized. Always thinking ahead, always protecting her. Lena knelt beside Sebastian again, cradling his head in her lap as paramedics burst through the door. "His heart," the lead paramedic told her as they loaded Sebastian onto a stretcher. "He's going to make it." 6 months later, Alina sat in a different office, sunlight streaming through clean windows. She had lost her license, her practice, her professional identity, but she had gained something more valuable, the knowledge that she was stronger than her trauma. Sebastian appeared in the doorway, moving carefully but healing. The bullet had damaged muscle and bone, but not his spirit. The board had reinstated him as CEO once Webb's manipulation came to light, but Sebastian had chosen to step down anyway. "Ready?" he asked. Lena nodded, closing the last file on her desk. Tomorrow, they would open their nonprofit together, a center for trauma survivors. Funded by Sebastian's fortune and guided by Elena's expertise. It wouldn't be traditional therapy, but it would be real healing. Webb was serving 25 too. Life for attempted murder, stalking, and a dozen other charges. Other victims had come forward once news broke, brave souls finally ready to speak their truth. "Do you ever regret it?" Sebastian asked as they walked toward the elevator. "Everything we lost?" Alina considered the question. She had lost her career, her reputation, her carefully controlled life. But she had gained something she thought was impossible: love without fear, strength without armor, healing without hiding. "No," she said, taking his hand. "We didn't lose anything real. We just stopped pretending we weren't already broken." Sebastian smiled, the expression transforming his entire face. "And now?" "Now we're broken together, and that's how we heal." They stepped into the elevator, two survivors who had found something stronger than their trauma: each other. The doors closed on their past, opening toward a future built not on perfection, but on truth. Outside, the sun set over the city, painting the sky in shades of hope and possibility. In the growing darkness, their light shone brighter than any star. The end.